Hello everybody and welcome to another Transformers third party review. This one is a little bit different than what I'm used to. This is a very early test shot of the Zeta Toys ZB-01 Flyfire. That's their take on the masterpiece style Aerialbot Fireflight. As you can see, he's not actually in his correct colours at this stage. This is basically one of the earlier test shots where they would test the tolerances and make sure everything went together smoothly, and just to see how the figure would look. Thanks to the guys at Robot Kingdom for shipping these out to me to give you all a slightly earlier insight. Straight off the bat, these are pretty darn big. They scale remarkably well with the masterpiece figures. This is coming from the design team that gave us Constructor, and these limbs are going to be basically the same size as those. They've given us their Vortex and their Blast Off. Their Brawl is due out this month, I believe, this month or the beginning of next month. These are looking rather good, and this is a fantastic scale. It's about time we got some more Autobots. Now, I didn't get any of the weapons or accessories. He should be coming with some missiles for his wings and a gun, and as you can see here, the head sculpt is kind of aimed more at the toy as opposed to the animation counterpart, but I love having the wings down here on the legs, because they don't really affect the articulation on the legs, and at the same time we've really freed up all of that space on the arms. There's literally no hindrance from any of the back kibble on those, completely unlike what we get with the MP11 Seeker mold, and that's actually a very good thing. I don't know if I've got the back kibble set up correctly. I believe I have. Let's just move these wings out the way so we can see what we're dealing with. I don't even know how they go. I'd imagine they go kind of like that, out of the way, just so it's all tucked in. But if we look at what we've got here on the back, I think that's kind of acceptable, because that's how they looked in the program as well. Yes, it's kind of a scrunched up jet on the back there, but as you can see, you've got all of this space here, and none of that back kibble gets in the way at all. So it's actually very well thought out. The head can look up, down, left and right, and we can also tilt to the side. The shoulders go all the way around. They can come up to the side on a double joint there. Rock that one up. You've got an upper bicep rotation. We've got a double joint on that elbow, albeit you can't really gain access to the full range there, but still it's more than adequate. We have rotation on the wrist, and we have individually articulated fingers as well. I want to be careful because I know this is a pre-production sample and I have to be sending this one back. The fingers do look slightly fragile, but I'd imagine that they are going to be robust enough in the final product. As previously mentioned, the waist does rotate quite nicely. We have hip skirts to the front, allowing the legs to come forwards and backwards. Like I said, see, there's not really much hindrance there. You could probably say that these thruster sections get in the way the most, but there's still more than an adequate range there. The legs can come out to the side on a lovely soft ratchet. We have a lovely ratchet on those knees, and coming down to the feet, it is only the toes that move. The actual heel spur is all a fixed lump, but the toes do go up and down, and we do have a sliding pivot which allows for a slightly wider stance. Something I really love about the ratchet joints on these legs is that they've put more than enough clicks on there, so we can get very natural poses. We don't have to go from 0 to 100, you know, it's a very natural progression. So although he's not the most dynamic of bots. The poses that he can pull off look very natural and not kind of forced. For those of you looking to mix and match your Autobots, the Zeta Toys Fireflight stands at approximately 8.5 inches tall. That's about 22 centimeters from foot to the tip of his head, and you're looking around 9.5 inches to the tip of the jet. And although this is only a test shot, he still weighs in at 306 grams. That's 10.79 ounces. And here we have him alongside Airstrike, their interpretation of Air Raid. And until the third-party companies start releasing their masterpiece scale Menasor, then the IDW interpretation from Transformission is the nearest we're going to get to the key to Vector Sigma. As much as I love how he looks, a lot of people out there won't like his kind of non-animation look. They've hinged these wings here, so you've got various different options to tidy these up. You can even have them out like a cone head if need be, but they're also just on a peg. So if you decided you wanted to slim him down a bit and you wanted to display them in just their robot modes, that really does slim it down and make it look a lot more animation accurate. But some of you will be screaming and shouting because that is the evil parts forming that we do not want in the Transformers community. I just love that there's so much range and so many options with these double hinges. You really can have them wherever you want to, and it's nice to have that sort of flexibility, especially in somebody who is in essence just a combiner limb. I know it's difficult to make ends meet of what we've got there with the sculpt because there's no colours present, but that being said, I think it looks exceptionally good. I think they've done a much better job with their Superion than they have with their Bruticus. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the limbs. I mean, you cannot go wrong getting so much robot for your money. Zeta really are nailing it at the moment. I just think with the sculpting around the chest here and the face especially, that's a really good looking bot. You can see that these sections here are going to be kind of hollowed out, but I think that's acceptable considering what this guy has to do. He has to be a robot, he has to be a jet, and he has to be a limb. And for them to pull off all three modes, I think there has to be some sacrifices. But to be honest with you, I do love how this guy looks. Now, being a test shot, I don't get any instructions. It is complete guesswork. So please don't quote me when you transform your figure. But I'm sure I'm kind of there. You want to come around to the arm, open up this piece here, rotate your hand around so the fingers are over here. These can then fold inwards. You can then fold this hinge up and over, and you see there's a tab here and a line there. That's going to line up, and that's going to come and tab back down. You want to do that with both arms. Lift the head up and bring that forward. Chest is tabbed in at various locations. Just undo those shoulder tabs, and we want to just untab this chest piece. If you look, there is a tab on the inner side of the chest wall. We want to straighten this piece off, and the arm is basically going to collapse down, and then these are going to tab in nicely on the side of those arms. With the chest upright, we can flip these shoulder panels around, and if you look here, this piece is on a double hinge. Rock that inward, and that just tabs in behind the chest. And if we look on the underside here, all of this section here is what we use for the combiner port. So for now, just bring this piece back down, bring the chest back in and tab that in. You want to bring the neck upwards, bring the head up, and you want to rotate the head around. Come around to the backpack and want to separate these two pieces. This is going to fully extend. This is going to come up. As we bring this piece over, you want to move these shoulder pieces forwards and then bring this over, and the head is going to slide in, and these are just going to sit either side of the front of that cockpit. Move the tail jet upwards, come around to the legs, and very much like what we get with their blast off, you want to just open up the legs, kind of Combiner Wars-ish, isn't it? Open that up, you want to bend the feet upwards into here, and this hinge here is locked into place. You want to just up that, bring it over, and that's going to slide down, tabbing into that slot just on the inside there, like so. And then we can bring this piece up, and as we do so, straighten off this section here. And then as we bring this in, there's a tab here and a hole just on the inside of the thigh. That's going to just tab in. And then we can bring this tail piece back, and there's a groove all the way along this tail. And pulling it all the way down, we can just straighten off these legs, and they're going to tab in nicely on there. And then bring the tail tip over. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Actually managed to do it all on camera. Bring this wing up, compress it, and there's a tab here and a tab there. They're going to tab in on those points, and then straighten off this wing piece, and do this for both sides. Bring down the final tail fin, and then just slide this piece forward. And there we have him in his very nice jet mode. And yes, mine is missing the front of the canopy, but hey, it's an early test shot. Beggars can't be choosers. Let's just bring down the landing gear. There's one there. Again, I don't have the wheels. And then we get the wheels on the wings, which I actually really like. I like how that looks. And this is ruddy massive. Oh, I think that is ruddy brilliant. What was he using? F4 Phantom 2, I think, wasn't he? But I think that's a fantastic looking scale. For those of you out there that know your jets, tell me, is that far off? I don't think it's that bad, is it? A few of you there are in the Air Force, I'm sure you can help me. As you can see, we've got these nice air intakes at the side here. We've got some nice sculpted detailing on the wings. We've got these ports on the underside where we can store his missiles. I've not got that clicked in, there we go. But I mean, that's a very tidy jet. You still noticeably have a little bit of bot hanging off the underside there, but personally I think that's an acceptable amount. It's a good homage to the toy and the animation model, and at the same time making it quite realistic in my opinion, all bar it's in these rather odd colours at the moment. Here we have him alongside some other MPs, just to give you an idea of just how big this guy really is. Honestly think he and the rest of these Aerialbots from Zeta are going to be one of the very best offerings on the market for Aerialbots. I know that Zhujian, the guys that gave us the oversized Classics Prime, they're doing an oversized Combiner Wars. Superion is kind of floating around. Was it TF Con USA this year? People selling off the limbs. They look okay, but they're not really MP scale in my opinion, and it does look very Combiner Wars still. But this guy, loving him. Right, now to get him transformed up into his limb mode, we want to slide this piece backwards. And what are we going to do? We're going to untab this, and this is going to pull upwards. Now, as you know, it's wedged in between those legs, so we just need to play with it a little bit, just pull that out, bring that back down, and then we can sandwich these back together. Come around to the waist, and you want to bring this piece up. That's going to go over. These are going to rotate around, and then that's going to come back down, and these tabs here are where it just tabs in as if it was in robot mode. This is going to come up, and this chest piece again is going to lift out, and unfortunately it's not as easy as it looks. We have to bring this up, and we have a combiner port just in here. These are not Scramble City, these just go where they're meant to. We've got arms and we've got legs, so we can bring this out, and we want to rotate the head around, and basically we've got a double hinge here. We're going to feed the head back through, bring it all the way down, and basically that's going to go in the gap that was created by using the peg. Bring that in, that's going to slide back in there, and then we can compress that back off and bring this down. And now that we're compressing it with this new tab section here, this is going to slide all the way down, and that's going to tab in firmly on the top of this joint. Now this joint is actually the elbow joint, and what you need to do, we need to rotate this around to this side like this, and then you want to rotate this back over so that the elbow will open and close like that. I can bring this piece off, close that back off, bring this back up, split these rear pieces so that this will fold back down between it, and basically this piece here is going to go under here. You need to get that pretty low down like so, and once it's down you can then bring that up, and then we can just bring and tab this piece in nicely, and that's going to tab actually on to that backpack section, and then we can bring these up, and that is in essence the arm mode. I believe we're meant to move these down to this port and then collapse them however you see fit. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I may take mine off completely, but it's the same mechanism as what we get with Constructor and of course their Bruticus. Lovely, lovely ratchet there, lots of movement on the inside there. We do get some rotation on there as well. These panels do seem to get in the way, so I'm not sure if we're meant to rotate these back for his combined mode. I'm not entirely sure, but there's a lot of movement there. It's a very nice solid joint. We've got a gap here where we're going to put our hands. They're just going to slide in on there, and all in all it's a very good limb. There we go. I mean, that's pretty big, isn't it, considering we're going to have a fist on there as well. This is going to be a very good representation of Superior. I'm very much looking forward to having this guy complete. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, a very early look at the Zeta Toys ZB-01 Flyfire, their interpretation of masterpiece Aerialbot Fireflight. Very excited to get the final product. I've had mine on pre-order with Robot Kingdom. I will include a link to the pre-order page in the description below. Once again, thanks to the team over at Robot Kingdom for letting us take a look at this early test shot. I hope you've all found the video useful. If you have, feel free to give it a big thumbs up, share, and of course subscribe. And until next time, from myself and Fireflight, thanks for watching. Goodbye.